I am Matthew, and this is another Recipher review. This time I'll be talking about Kamen Rider Build, New World, Kamen Rider Cross Z. So, if you're not familiar, this is a tokusatsu review of a tokusatsu movie from a tokusatsu TV show, Kamen Rider Build, which ended not long ago. I'm going to try, I'm going to try to give a less than 60-second review of the movie overall, and then I have screen grabs that I will use to prompt me to talk about different things. So here I go. So overall, I have to say I liked this movie. There were some things about it I did find tiresome or boring or not too enjoyable, but there were many more things in it that I did find enjoyable. I liked the focus being, I liked the idea of the focus being on Banjou Ryuuga instead of on Kiryu Sento. I liked how Kiryu was put on the back burner. I liked the fact that the cast was brought back. The main cast of Build has had their memories of the old world restored in their new world selves, whatever, versions, I should say. And I like the idea that the adventure is going to continue, but I don't like the fact that Blood is back, or Stock, whatever, and I don't know, it just wasn't... I've had so much to say about, and I had so much interest in the Kamen Rider Build Be the One movie that I was expecting more of this. So, yeah, I was a little let down by this movie, and I've gone over my 60-second limit, so I'm going to pause and shift gears and talk about different things one by one. So the screen grab I have here is reminding me that I gave the wrong appellation to this movie. It's not Kamen Rider Build, New World, Kamen Rider Cross Z. It's just Kamen Rider Cross Z New World, I believe is the actual titling of it. Anyway, so this gives us a chance to focus on Banjou Ryuuga, like I talked about before. They make reference to, this is after the events of the show, it's when they're in the new world. Kiryu Sento has just finished compiling all his stuff in the metal textual reference from Shogo Muto. Shogo Muto is writing again on this movie, so he did every episode of the show, plus the other movies, and now this movie too. I don't know about the specials, but to me this feels like Muto Shogo, you know, whether on his own or at Toei, with Toei's imprimatur, is doing everything he can to resurrect Kamen Rider Build and bring it to a point where the cast can continue just like nothing had ever happened. And I don't really mean as if nothing had ever happened. I mean, he's taking the stakes and he's letting them stay in place. And I don't want to say retconning, but he's making a space. He's allowing for there to be a way for us to have Grease and Cracked Boy. Gosh, I want to say Korn, but that's not right. That's a joke by Kamen Rider Korn. Gentoku. Hiromu Gentoku is Kamen Rider Rogue. There we go. Because there's going to be a Rogue movie, and there's going to be a Grease movie. And it's awesome to have Sawa and Misora back. And I think those are great things. And they make a reference to Isurugi, but I think because of, I guess, the popularity of Bloodstock, or Stock, whatever, that maybe Isurugi will never be portrayed as a good coffee dad, former astronaut, or restaurateur, or whatever he is in this new world. Again, he'll only ever be, the face actor will only ever perform for Bloodstock, I guess, which is disappointing because I'm not looking forward to seeing Stock in future installments of Kamen Rider Build. Now, that may sound a little silly, but I don't think it is. Now, the bit where Kilbus goes and he grabs Ryuga's hand and he forces it onto the Pandora panel, the white Pandora panel, to resurrect the other 5 sides of the Pandora box, it kind of feels like this is what Bandai was doing to Muto Shogo. This is what Shogo is doing to me. In me watching this, and I'm resisting Stock coming back and all this other stuff that I don't necessarily like about this movie. But ultimately, I just have to live in this world where this stuff has happened and Stock is back, and I don't know. I guess I can either choose to live in it or not, and I'm going to choose to live and fight for love and justice, or do they say peace? Love and peace. There we go. So, because this is Banjo's story, this is Kamen Rider Cross, Banjo has a narrative arc, and Mabuchi Yui here is somebody who gained their memories back from the old world because she was one of the 3 lost Smash who was abducted by Faust and experimented on, and then she was brutalized by the Sato, I can't remember all the country names, Guardians, and they basically destroyed her, killed her until she produced a bottle for one of the I don't know, those special bottles from the Lost Smashes that I don't really remember anything about from the show, because I said a little while ago, the show's been over for at least like 22 weeks, which is like over 5 months. So yeah, it's almost been half a year since the end of Build, and that stuff happened in like 3/4 of the way through, so I don't really remember what all that was about. But you know, it was bad stuff, obviously. It's bad that she got tortured and whatnot, but the main point of her inclusion here is to really give a resolution to, I'm going to say, the failings of Ryuuga, but not in the way that I like hate him or think he's a bad character. There are other characters in Kamen Rider who I vehemently dislike because I felt like they're not heroic enough or good enough people to define what is a Kamen Rider. I won't go into who they are right now, but I am tipping my trilby as I say this, so that might give you a little clue. Anyway, yeah, Ryuuga was like a bad person in the show. Well, he was bad, he was scared, you know, I call this the Frozen rule. People make bad choices when they're mad or scared or stressed. And we got to see in Build that because we had Kamen Rider Build, you know, Kiryu or Sento, and we had Ryuuga, and then we had an evil rider in Rogue, and then we had Grease. We had a diverse cast, which allowed us to explore the ethics of being a Kamen Rider, the ethics of trying to be a good person in a very imperfect, very flawed world, and we got to explore a lot of different things. So when your main hero is heroic, it gives you an opportunity to explore the other side of that through other people, and I really like that. I think it's a positive thing. I think it's instructive, constructive. It's very interesting to look at. And I didn't like Ryuuga for a good while in the show because he was a little too much out for himself. And during the Rider War thing, which I think is when the events happen here, I could definitely see him making the mistake he did with abandoning Yabuchi, right? That's her name? Or Mabuchi. I can't remember. Yui Mabuchi, I think. Sorry. Yeah, I can definitely see that Ryuuga making that mistake. And it's awful that he left a innocent teacher, or like he left civilians, a woman and then children. And if it was a man and children, it'd be just as bad for me. Left them to be attacked and killed and die. And he's confronted by that failing of his, that moral failing of his. And one thing I really appreciate about all these after movies, these, V-cinema, next movies or whatever they call them, is that it gives you a chance to explore more of these characters. And we get so much interesting in these characters, especially since I think Ghost On, we've had really well constructed casts and really interesting narratives that have characters that are so full of life and so full of potential that we can explore them. And I really appreciate Shogo going into this, or Muto, I don't know what to call it, Muto Shogo going into this and expounding upon this part of Ryuuga. I love the idea of it. I'm not sure I like the execution of it. I think Mabuchi Yui is a great addition to the cast, potentially. I liked her attitude, all good things. She's a good, well-written character. And I'm okay with Banjo still being like a meathead, basically, and them talking about that, his power-up is the super muscle galaxy, or whatever ridiculous thing they called it. And I get the need to focus on his redemption and the fact that he failed these people, and have that story be about him, have this story be really about him coming back from that and like proving to her that he isn't the guy that he used to be, which is really neat. I don't like that all of a sudden, I guess, stock or blood, there's been other Bloods before, like in New World, or not New World, but gosh, whatever it was called, the summer movie, Be the One, that I really liked. But I didn't really like this guy coming back, especially because it meant he was fighting with his little brother, Bloodstock. And gosh, I don't want to just belabor the point that I don't like him coming back, but I don't like him coming back. So anyway, let me pivot real quick to focusing on other things. The flamboyant dancer persona for Kill Bus that he chose, I like that. I think it works. It was a little weird in some places, and it made me think, oh, they're definitely going for an older audience with this, aren't they? But it didn't really bother me. It didn't make any sense to me that Sento is making like transformation device trinkets to try to sell at like a little swap meet or whatever, and like that's how he and Banjou are making a living, and how they're subsisting and just getting by. I like the fact that like they don't have identification or whatever, like they're on the outskirts of society and they're trying to scrape out a living, and like that's a cool idea, but it doesn't really make sense to me that he would have the little spider. Like, I just don't get the idea, unless he's trying to like make unless he was making a Kamen Rider show based on his story, trying to make a Kamen Rider Build story, like an indie toku thing, and was trying to sell toys for it. I don't really see why, except for the fact that it was like a conceit for him, for Kilbus to come across it and take it and empower it and make it his own thing, and give himself that spider suit, which I'll talk about in a minute. Like, I really don't get the point of Sento making the toys. I'm not a professional writer, and I think Kamen Rider Build is the most well-constructed Kamen Rider I've ever seen, and I've seen everything from Decade on, well, that's not true. Well, yeah, everything from Double on. So, I have some ability to compare the writing, the level of the writing from this show to that, 9 or so years of, or eight other years of Kamen Rider, plus I've seen Black and a good chunk of the original and whatever. So, I know good writing when I see it, and wouldn't it have been a sensible alternative to have Sento have been working on that, and because Killbus comes into his lab and beats him up and stuff anyway, he could have just taken the power then? Why doesn't that make sense? Why doesn't that make more sense than the swap meet thing, except for you get to have Yui and Banjo later on at the end of the movie working together to sell their wares? I don't really get it. The Kilbus spider suit was pretty cool. I can see where it is, kit bashed from other Build stuff, and where, it has new elements. I thought it was nice. It made for some fun stuff. I like when they use the webbing, that same webbing that they seem to use in all the different shows. That's fun. And, he had the weird spider finisher with the giant spider legs, and just some weird stuff. And it was kooky and fun to see. And I don't know. I like it. I thought it was well designed, well put together, and it was a lot of fun. Okay, so, yes, on to Mr. I'm Never Going to Die. Stalk comes and he interferes with the fight because he doesn't want his little brother destroying the world, or his big brother destroying the world, and he helps Ryuuga out, and I guess he's the only way Ryuuga can be cross magma and stuff, and I don't know, man. I'm just really disappointed about him being back in the movie. But I'm happy, if having him back in the movie is the cost we had to pay to get the, core Build cast back, I'm okay with that. I like the idea of everybody having their memories back, of Sento meeting up with them and talking with them. I don't know if he built other drivers for Grease and Rogue or what, but it was just cool to see them all back in action and kind of picking up right where they had left off, and wondering how exactly they're going to save the world from this new threat that's kind of a, new threat, same as the old threat coming back in. The fact that Utsumi is back and he has his memories back and he's a joke character is fine with me. I kind of appreciated the joke, although like it was planned out better than it was executed. That cane was obviously going to break. It was obviously bending in his hand. I don't think I hurting his knee, but like, I don't know. I would think they could have done some better way to rig. I mean, this is tokusatsu, people. They come up with all sorts of creative, unique ways to make things appear as if they're really happening, and they couldn't do a cane break very well. I think that's a little too bad, but what are you gonna do? Like, I could see the steel tape around the stainless steel cane. It's just, a dumb. I work with metal too, so like I can think of a few ways you might weaken something so that it breaks. Maybe they wanted to have it break in time. I don't know. You could have held it up with two hands and then broken it, because holding it in one hand really exposed the weakness of it. And, or maybe, I don't know, whatever. It was just not done well. And, I was disappointed with that. I did appreciate how, Rogue and Grease just talk about him and dismiss him altogether. I did like that. That was fun. It was cute. It was good to see them fighting again, and I really love their friendship and relationship and camaraderie, and it's good to see it. All right, so I've got the image up of Mabufu, that's from Persona, anyway, or SMT, whatever, Yui, and the kids being abandoned and being attacked, and then, towards the end of the movie, Ryuuga, she's, under threat again, and he calls back to Sento being heroic throughout the course of Build, especially early on in Build, and Yui is kind of shocked to see that even though he's been knocked out of his transformation, and what Ryuuga is there protecting her, and he kind of goes on about how Sento had showed him what it is to be a hero, and he's just like very clearly living out the ethics that he was taught. And he talks about how Sento's his hero, and how he's this aspirational figure, and that he's thankful that he is here to be able to not necessarily be that aspirational figure for Yui, but that he's here to protect her, because protecting people is what counts, and he's going to fight for love and peace too. And I really liked this. I think it was a really good scene. Just for me, it was kind of bogged down by all the other stuff I didn't really appreciate. And I like how dismissive of him she is, and when he calls her by her first name, she kicks him, and that's not nice, but it was funny. But they had a very contentious relationship. She'd even slapped him a couple times, and Stock used his body to try to choke her out and stuff. So it's interesting how things develop between them. And again, I don't feel like it's a romantic development at all, but it definitely it defines his arc throughout the movie, and it calls back to, what had been in the show. And I think it's effective how that was done. So honestly, I don't even pay attention to the names of forms anymore. I used to think it was really cool, but now I'm just so old and jaded by my participation. I'm like, oh, it's the new form. Yeah, I like that one. That one's cool. Or, oh, I don't like that one that much. Whatever. There's always the base form they'll go back to. But we've got this Super Muscle Galaxy or whatever. I think it looks pretty cool. I like combining elements of the Bloodstock rider design with Ryuga's design. I love all the white on it, all the circles and stuff. It reminds me of the Beats stuff that he has on his Beat Sword and stuff from Cross Z or whatever. I don't even know. Anyway, I think he should have been called Claws, not Cross, but whatever. That's neither here nor there. But I like the design. I think it's pretty cool. One of the things I appreciate most about it is actually his finishing attack. Because Ryuga was talking about how Sento was his hero and an inspiration to him, and he wanted to fight for love and peace just like him. And remember Sento's rider kick, the rabbit tank rider kick, that Cartesian plane comes up or whatever it is, and then the enemy gets locked into it, and he slides down it and arcs into a kick at them. Now, Sento and Ryuga are a really cool pair, because they offer different perspectives on the world. They are different people. They come from different places, and the way they interact with the world is very opposite from each other. So what I like is that Sento's main CG, big CGI finisher is him coming down a Cartesian plane type thing, sloping down and coming at the enemy and hitting them with a kick, and then we get to see Ryuga's as a hero, he's fully embodying heroism in this moment as he's fighting Kilbus. He does an uppercut type punch, or a punch, and it's this energy dragon thing that comes at the enemy and then shoots him up into the air, and really it softens up for him to teleport over there and then hit him again, kick him from above. But no, actually, I think he punches him from above too. So yeah, instead of kicking, he's punching. He's a musclehead. He's a boxer. He's a brawler and a fighter. He lacks certain things that Sento has, but he has, all this power and strength that Sento isn't characterized by. And I think it's really cool how they showed that with this finisher here. And I think it's very poetic. I don't know if Muto would have had any say in that, but I like to think he did have a little bit of input and say, hey, let's have him do a big punch for his thing and have it go up instead of down. So there's like a rhythm and a symmetry, and it's a further mirroring and foiling of these characters. And the great thing is that they're not at odds with each other. They complete each other. They complement each other in such great ways. And, even as they're so different though, that even as Ryuuga is embodying, all the ideals that Sento lived out for him first and showed him, that he's doing it in his own unique way. And I really like that. It feels a little silly to say like that was my favorite bit of the movie, but like if you had to put it, like this all could have been on a single episode and you could have like skipped over a lot of things and done highlights of it and it would have been really satisfying. And that kind of just like that punch, like kind of embodies all the stuff that was really, really good about it for me and that I liked. And yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say. So yeah, I'm done with this little review. I thought this was going to be like a 5-minute thing, and it turned out to be closer to 23 minutes. So anyway, yeah, I'm looking forward to the Prime Rogue, or Rogue Prime, or whatever it's called, and the Kamen Rider Grease stuff. Again, I love the characters from Build. I'm glad to have them back, and I'm excited to see what's going to happen in their futures. I don't know how many of these things are already out or not, but I'm actually going to go hunting around for subs now because this was good stuff and I enjoyed it, even for my complaints. So, yeah, that's really all I have to say. If you enjoyed this, check out all my other Tokusatsu stuff. I've been talking about Kamen Rider Build. I've been talking about Ultra Fight Victory. Yeah, there's other Toku stuff on this here Recypher channel. So you can check that out. I'm also doing comics reviews of Star Wars comics right now. And I'm talking about Mobile Fighter G Gundam on my podcast, which is here on YouTube and also has an audio-only version of it that you can find at luminousbeings.blog. And it's also linked in you can look up King of Hearts, Queen of Sorrows on YouTube and you'll be able to find it. Or just search around my channel. Anyway, that's all. Ciao! Thank you for your time and attention. I'd love to do more of this. Like, share, and subscribe to cheer me on, or give me feedback to make me stronger and smarter. Visit luminousbeings.blog for more. I link everything I do there, so if you want to comment, that's the place where I'll definitely see it.